Okay. Stacey Murphy, and I am the program director for the Scottsbluff County Diversion Program.
I'm Tyne Jackson, and I am the director for the Juvenile Assessment Center. Well, we're located within Scottsbluff County. Shrink that down a little bit. We are located in Gering, Nebraska. And we serve the Scottsbluff Panhandle.
Yep, our county size is about 35,000, so, and we also serve surrounding counties a little bit as far as the diversion program. It's mostly rural, small towns within our county. We house our diversion program, which is basically myself and an intake officer that we were able to hire with our community aid dollars. And then we also house the Juvenile Assessment Center, which is Tyne's program. So we have two programs. We're located in the courthouse, but we kind of try to set ourselves apart from the court system. It's kind of symbolic that our office is right before you get to the security desk, because we're trying to keep kids from going further into the process. We don't want them to go to court. They stop here. So
we have kids come in for intake if we can get them in. We also do intakes over the phone. We have kids come in, we meet with them and their families. We perform some simple assessments on them, just some risk assessments to see where they're at. And then we help them through the diversion program and through the Juvenile Assessment Center, JAC, to find help in the community that they need to keep them out of trouble.
Right, and the diversion program has been in effect for many years, since 1991, so before I was here. But Tyne's program just started about 5 years ago, and what her program is geared towards is kind of the uncontrollable youth, trying to get them services prior to them getting in trouble, so parents can bring their kids in. She gets referrals from the schools,
from parents,
police officers give her cards out. So we try to hook them up with services so that they don't get into the system at all on her end, and then further into the system as far as diversion.
So we do work a lot preventatively. Obviously, we want to keep the kids out of the justice system. We want to try to help the families before they are in crisis or before they are in serious crisis. We have lots of community programs that we can refer them to, and we can get them the help that sometimes they need, because a lot of times teens don't understand so much is going on inside of them with their emotions and their body changing, and who doesn't need someone to talk to get through that? And families also need that help in dealing with their child. The program started because there was a lot of uncontrollable teens, that charge being filed, and now we're not seeing as many of those charges. What we're seeing is we're helping the families before they get there, which is really, keeping the kids out of the justice system. Very preventative, very useful.
In diversion, I serve kids that obviously have a charge pending. We're a pre-trial program, so it's not filed in court at all. Hopefully we catch it, and with our new intake officer, we're able to contact the families a lot quicker. Within usually days of getting the police report, so they were cited over the weekend, they give us a report within that week. My intake officer does the assessment and interview, and if we deem that they're low risk, which most kids are, then we run them through the diversion program and get them services, and we have some other things like community service and things that they have to do, but it keeps them from having to go to court and having anything on their record.
Well, I know my program has been around for 5 years, and I know diversion has been around a lot longer than that.
I've been here since 2003, but it was probably at least 10 years before I got here. So it's been around a while. Our team is pretty much Tyne and I, and then our intake officer, Jim. And we serve, I want to say, it comes and goes with
It does
COVID
with
this
COVID.
year. Our numbers are a little low.
It's definitely picked up since school has started,
Right.
as far as referrals go. I guess I don't really
Seven.
have
I would say, my program, it ebbs and flows. Sometimes it's 75 a year. Sometimes it's 150 a year. But because I also do adult, we call it adult diversion, for first-time offenders also. So.
My program in the past, in previous quarters, has helped about 30 kids a quarter, so give or take. And of course, with COVID, made it really tough. We had to do a lot more with telephone and Zoom meetings, and it was nice to get the kids back to where we can visit with kids and families in the office.
We are very, very rural, so we don't have as many, probably, as far as like Lincoln and Omaha, we don't have as many programs to refer to, but our community team works really well, and we are aware of, we know the service providers on a first name basis. We all work together.
Very close-knit.
Close knit, and as far as one reason that the Jack got started was just because of giving kids access to mental health providers, and our former director, Liz, was, I was like, who is, yeah, Liz was really beneficial. She helped us get the program up and running and got it set up to where we contract with one of the local guys that does all of our psych evals and gets the kids access to those diagnoses so much sooner than before they would, call like the doctor's office and it'd be like a 3-month wait. Well, now he keeps spots open for us, and so a kid comes
in and needs that assessment or isn't involved in therapy currently, we can over email schedule an appointment and have them in within the month.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
that really helps with treatment, because that way when we do get them in counseling, they have a heads up on what needs to be worked on, and it kind of speeds up the process.
Diversion programs, I would say, as far as diversion, there's kind of an ebb and flow with each new boss. So I change county attorneys. I've been here a long time, so I've worked under several, and each one of them wants to tweak the diversion program. So trying to keep everything on an even keel, and I think we've got a good system now, and our county attorney is behind us and believes in what we're doing, and we're able to, in the past, county attorneys, I would say a kid needs counseling or needs, services, but they're like, well, we can't mandate them because we can't pay for them. So we can't require the kid to do counseling if they can't pay. And so now we have the community aid money that if a kid, can't pay or doesn't have insurance, then we have our funds to use to shore that up.
I found a lot of parents that don't want to help their kids. And that to me is my biggest struggle, because when parents come in, they say, I want to file an uncontrollable on my teen. Well, tell me about what's going on. Well, he's not doing this, and he's not doing this, and he's coming home late, and he's drinking, and he's doing drugs. Okay, well, what does your life look like? How often are you home? Oh, well, I work all day. And not saying that people that work all day don't love their kids, but I'm seeing a lot of borderline neglect. And it's tough to try to convince a parent that they have a part in it too, that it's not just the child. So I think that to me is the biggest struggle that I've run into.
Yeah, her program is a lot higher risk kids. I mean, it just really is. And it's usually the mom is here, fix my kid. It's
my
all
child.
Their fault.
Yeah.
And we
And
all
it's-
know that that's not.
And through, mediation, which I refer people to a lot, they kind of can come around from time to time, you know, but it's tough when it's all the kid's fault and the parents just want me to fix their kid or make their kid go to school. And so it's definitely learning for me, and getting through that and trying to find ways to give the parents a little positive push in the right direction without taking over. I believe that in instituting intensive family therapy and having funds to help families out with that would make a significant impact, because it's not just the child getting the help they need, it's the family seeing it from the child's point of view, it's the child seeing it from the family's point of view. It's so much more than mediation. Mediation meets with them and sets up goals and plans. Family therapy helps them work towards those goals in that plan and helps them get through not only this crisis, but helps them develop skills as a family to get through the ongoing crises of life. I have seen some intensive family therapy places around here that are just getting started. You know, I think they need a little bit of time to build, but even, you know, some of the therapists that we have, previous to this, I worked in foster care. And when foster children went to therapy, it wasn't just the foster children needing to go. It was the foster parents, the mom, the dad, and they all worked together. And I don't know if that quite fits the bill of intensive family therapy, but it's a step in the right direction.
One success story from about a year ago, I had a girl on diversion, and she was, you know, low risk kid. She was a good kid that just got an MIP, and she ended up doing her community service at our Humane Society. And you know, I know that sometimes community service is kind of frowned upon in some circles, but I think the kids that I talk to that get the most out of diversion, it's when they, you know, I kind of get them to pick something that they're interested in, and that's going to benefit them. I tell them, you know, this could be, you know, a reference for a job. It could, you know, you could use this to write a paper at school, or, you know, get something out of it. It's not just, I don't have them picking up trash on the side of the road. All my community service agencies are so good. I have a lot in town, and I couldn't do diversion without them, but the Humane Society is a big one. And anyways, I guess I shouldn't say her name, but she did community service at the Humane Society. She loved animals. And at the end of diversion, and she got done with diversion quickly, like within 2 months, she had her community service done, did her classes, did everything she needed to do, never missed an appointment, and she got a job. And so she's working at the Humane Society. And now whenever I refer new kids to the Humane Society, I get to talk to her. And she's working, she graduated, and she's working full time. So that's a big success story to me, is just that they, you know, use diversion to further their life. And it's like, I always tell them, it's a do-over, but get something out of it.
Well, I have not been here that long. I've been here since April. So I really, my success stories kind of, you know, I think some of them are going to be a success and they don't always work out. But I did have a family come to me here recently, and the young lady did not want to go to school. And she had, you know, quite an episode at school with the police officer, and the resource police officers around here are all great, and they refer our program because they know it's done a lot in the past, and will continue to help. So she came in and she didn't want to go to school, and she had been in the behavioral health unit a couple times over the past year, and she didn't want to get out of bed, she didn't want to do anything, and her caregiver that was taking care of her, guardian, was very worried. And I sat down and I visited with the girl, and she was struggling quite a bit. She struggled with depression, pretty intense depression, and I leveled with her and, you know, let her know that even though there are bad days, You still need to try, you still need to get up, you still need to get going. And so we made an agreement that she was going to try to go to school. And the next week when she came in, I'm sorry, let me back up. We got a hold of a counselor, and the counselor reached out to her and started talking to her. And the next week when she came in, she had gone every day since, and she started talking with the counselor, and she seemed like a different girl. She was happy, she was energetic, and it was nice to see that. I'm still meeting with them and still working with them to make sure that the counselor is a right fit for her, but it was just nice to see her mood get so much better.
I would tell another program that would want to implement something similar is to lean on the Crime Commission. As far as diversion, Amy Hoffman, shout out. she's awesome, and she is so supportive, and you know, there's so many materials on the website. I mean, there's a guidebook that tells you what to do if you want to set up diversion in your county. So, but any program, any diversion program in the state will help you. I mean, I have called Kearney before. I've called the gals in Sydney before. Like, you know, everybody is so helpful if you need ideas as far as classes or, you know, just any kind of support you could need. The Crime Commission and, you know, other diversion programs. I guess I'll let you speak to yours.
Well, I think if anybody wanted to start a program for prevention of keeping kids out of the justice system, definitely the Crime Commission. I know when I have questions, there's wonderful people there that I can talk to, but also find resources in your community as well. Talk to people who are in other community organizations, because a lot of times they will band together and they will help you.
You know, I do what I do because I see myself in all the kids. I don't think the straightest arrows always gravitate towards our work. You know, I was a troubled kid, and I wish I would have gotten in trouble for all the stuff that I did, that I got away with. And I didn't get help until I was much older in college. Actually, I probably didn't straighten things out until I was married and had a kid. But and my baby is my oldest is 25 now. But I do it because I want to help kids, and I see myself in them.
Coming from a background of social work, it felt like it was a level up for me. It was, I could help people without as many constraints as I felt working as a social worker for the state. I have a caring heart, and seeing kids in trouble is not what anyone should want to see. You know, if we can save them from going down a path that could ultimately ruin their future, I think, why not stand up and help them? So I think that programs like this need to continue. We need help from community, schools, law enforcement, because these are our leaders for tomorrow. If we don't help them and teach them, what is our world going to look like? So please keep doing what you're doing.